DWBR of the Philippine Broadcasting Service. 104.3 on FM. Music and talk. Nice and easy.
The time is 12 o'clock. Good afternoon. This is the PBS Network News. Today, September 21, 2013. In the news, DSWD Secretary Dinky Soliman says the number of evacuees affected by the Zamboanga hostilities had not increased in the last 2 days. In today's radio program, Kaagapay ng Bayan, Soliman said there remains a humanitarian crisis in Zamboanga because of the large number of displaced persons. She said food items and other needs of the evacuees are being given until the situation in Zamboanga normalizes.
Yung bilang ng evacuees magmula 2 days ago ay hindi na nadagdagan. 118,819 persons or tao ang apektado. 107,162 na tao ang nasa iba't ibang evacuation centers. 57 evacuation centers ang nakabukas po. Pinakamalaki ay yung nasa stadium sa grandstand, 71,265 na tao po yun nandun. Humanitarian crisis kasi 118,819 na mga tao ang nabulabog ang buhay po nila. Wala po sila sa kanilang mga bahay, nasunog ang bahay nila. Sila po ay nakatira sa evacuation center na kahit ano pong gawin nating pagtulong, iba talaga yung nandiyan ka, nandun ka sa grandstand. Kaya may humanitarian crisis na tinatawag. Crisis ho yan sa bawat tao, bawat pamilya na nabulabog ang buhay dahil dito sa Biswari faction ng MNLF na sinira ang katahimikan dito po sa Zamboanga. Yun po ang ibig sabihin nun. So ngayon, tuloy-tuloy po ang pakikipagtulungan sa city government ng DSWD National para po sa pagtugon sa pangangailangan ng mga evacuees. Yung stadium ho, yung grandstand, ang DSWD na po ang namamahala at tayo po ay nagbibigay ng food pack. Kahapon ho, 125,000 cooked food ang ibinigay po natin doon para po nang sa ganon ang pangangailangan sa pagkain ay matugunan. At yan ho ay ibinibigay through sa pamamagitan ng distribution center mismo sa stadium kada barangay.
Soliman said the primary concern of the government at this point is the health needs of the evacuees, especially of the children.
Ang pangangailangan ng mga bata ay ating tinutugunan sa pamamagitan ng pagkakaroon ng daycare center doon po sa stadium at doon din sa ating mga ibang evacuation center. May play therapy at may pagbibigay ng mga sessions para maintindihan ng mga bata kung ano po yung nangyari sa kanila. Pangalawa, na meron din hong pag-aalaga sa mga nanay na nagpapasuso para mabalik ang kanilang mga gatas at yung mga hindi pa po mabalik, nagbibigay din po tayo ng gatas para sa mga sangkol. So, may palikuran, 33 at may tubig po na sinusupply ng Water District at sinisigurado po na ang lahat ay nagkakaroon ng pagkakataong makainom at ng malinis na tubig nang maiwasan po ang sakit. May medical units po tayo, ang Department of Health, ang City Health, ang PCSO, at ang Philippine Red Cross ay nandun po sa stadium mismo at umiikot din po ang Department of Health para siguraduhin yung ibang evacuation centers ay nabibigyang atensyon ang mga pangangailangan sa kalusugan.
DSWD Secretary Dinky Soliman. The crisis in Zamboanga City is taking a little bit of time to resolve to protect civilians taken hostage by the Moro National Liberation Front gunmen. The military spokesman, Brigadier General Domingo Tutaan, said The military had to launch a calibrated response to solve the crisis and not just a single attack on MNLF fighters to prevent civilian casualties. Tutaan said if the order is to immediately finish off the rebels, hostilities could be ended in 1 or 2 days. He said the order was to protect civilians. Tutaan said if the calibrated response was not adopted, a large number of civilians would have been killed. The crisis in Zamboanga, which has already lasted for 12 days, has so far claimed the lives of 7 civilians, 3 policemen, and 11 soldiers. The AFP said 72 MNLF fighters who are followers of founding chairman Nur Miswari have been killed. Around 20 civilian hostages remain in the hands of MNLF in Zamboanga City. In the meantime, the AFP said military forces in Zamboanga City have enough supplies. Tutaan issued a statement after a photo of 3 soldiers supposedly begging for food circulated online. The military spokesman said supplies, equipment, personnel, administrative, and logistical supplies that were sent were adequate, if not more than adequate. He also emphasized that soldiers in Zamboanga City are not starving. He stressed that soldiers in war zones are not like office workers who have regular breaks. Tutaan said soldiers' primordial concern is to save civilians rather than to take regular lunch breaks. AFP-PIO Chief Colonel Ramon Zagala says clearing operations in Zamboanga is ongoing. Zagala said the AFP would press the fight today and end it as soon as possible. Zagala explained why the MNLF is seemingly not running out of ammunition.
Patuloy po ang ating gradual constriction. Itong ating operations patuloy para tuloy natin na mapaligiran itong grupo ni Commander Malik. Ngayon, yung ating pag-abante ay patuloy at meron na po tayong additional 5 enemy killed at bringing to 102 total enemy killed. We intend to press on the fight ngayong araw na to at sana po matapos na po natin sa the soonest possible time. Itong operation na to, tayo po ang nasa offensive, no? Sila po nasa defensive at pag ikaw ay nasa defensive, less ang consumption mo ng bala because you are delaying offensive forces from bante. So less ang pag-consume ng bala. Hindi sabihin na hindi sila naubusan. Less at nagsisave sila ng ammunition for that very purpose. Habang umaabante tayo, dinidelay nila tayo, nag-trade sila ng space for time. So magbibigay sila ng konti para mapigilan tayo at mabagalan tayo. Ang gamit nila ng bala ay hindi kasing dami ng gamit natin. The mere fact na tayo po ay offensive, we consume more ammunition than them. Kami naniniwala low on ammunition na sila. At in due time, we will finish this.
AFP-PIO Chief Colonel Ramon Zagala. In other news, Deputy Presidential Spokesperson Abigail Valdez says the NDRRMC is on blue alert in connection with Typhoon Odette. Valdez said Malacanang is monitoring the situation, particularly in the Batanes Islands and the northern Luzon area.
Nang una, ang NDRRMC natin, yung operation center natin, naka-blue alert status na sila. Kahapon pa nila itinaas ito at naka-alerto na silang lahat doon para masigurado na yung mga flood advisory natin, yung mga gale warning, at saka mga 24-hour public weather forecast natin ay naipapadala doon sa mga regional DRRMC, sa mga local, provincial, hanggang pababaho doon sa mga Municipal Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council para masigurado kung handa yung mga DRRMCs po natin through the OCD regional centers po natin para maging handa at alerto po sila dahil nakataas pa rin ho yung public storm warning signal hanggang signal number 4 na ako sa Batanes, number 3 sa Calayan Group of Islands, tapos yung sa signal number 1 sa Ilocos Sur. Sa Baguio nga po yata nagsuspindi ho sila ng pasok dahil malakas daw po yung ulan. So minomonitor po natin yung sitwasyon doon at pumapasok naman ho yung mga report. So far, yung pinakamataas ho mga nakita nating pagbaha ay mga knee-deep flooding dyan ho sa Occidental Mindoro, sa Barangay Claudio Salgado, dyan sa Victoria, sa Sitio Pandan. So tinitingnan ho natin yung mga developments as they happen.
Volta said the DSWD has repositioned relief materials for those affected by the typhoon.
Ang magandang balita lang naman po dito ay nakapag-preposition po tayo ang DSWD ng mga, ito po, nag-preposition po ang DSWD ng 113.58 million worth of emergency relief resources. Kasama po dito yung standby funds, yung 36,410 family food packs and other relief items. Ito po sa Regions 1, 2, 3 sa CAR.
Deputy Presidential Spokesperson Abigail Valte. Super Typhoon Odette made landfall over Batanes Province in extreme northern Luzon early Saturday. Pag-asa said Odette made landfall at Itbayat town in Batanes at about 7 in the morning. Pag-asa said Odette still packed maximum winds of 215 kilometers per hour and gustiness of 250 kilometers per hour and was moving west-northwest at 19 kilometers per hour. Pag-asa forecaster Fernando Cada said residents in Itbayat may feel a temporary calm as the eye of Odette passes through the area but should brace for more rain and winds afterwards. At least 2 dams in Luzon keep spill gates open amid Odette threat. Super Typhoon Odette caused floods and landslides not only in Luzon but in the western Visayas as well. The NDRRMC said at least 400 people had been affected in Tarlac earlier this week while a tornado hit a village in Bago City in Negros Occidental. Landslides caused by Odette affected several areas in Benguet. Families in landslide-affected areas were evacuated. The NDRRMC also reported flooding in parts of Dagupan City in Pangasinan, though no evacuations have so far been reported. Knee-deep floods were also reported in Sablayan in Occidental Mindoro, while 2-feet-high floods were reported in parts of western Visayas. Also, in the western Visayas, a tornado hit Barangay Mailum in Bago City in Negros Occidental, affecting 13 families or 65 people. Still on the weather, the bad weather conditions from Super Typhoon Odette disrupted mobile phone signals in Batanes and disrupted the trips of some bus firms in northern Luzon. In Batanes, Governor Vicente Gatto said he has difficulty getting in touch with local officials to assess the effects on the province. Gatto said the strong winds from the cyclone made communication by mobile phones difficult, if not impossible, in the province. Earlier, Pag-asa placed Batanes under storm signal number 4, which means winds of up to 185 kilometers per hour was felt. But Pag-asa forecaster Connie Dadivas said Odette is also moving fast and may exit the Philippine area of responsibility as early as Saturday afternoon. Meanwhile, some bus firms in Luzon said some of their trips may be delayed due to the bad weather conditions that may cause obstructions in roads. Victory Liner said its trips to Isabela and Cagayan Valley may experience delays as some trees fell on the highway. Some trees have fallen on the highway at Kapintalan in kilometer 192. Still in the news, the United States says it is not seeking a permanent base in the Philippines as the allies expand military cooperation at a time of tension with China. State Department spokeswoman Mary Harv said she wants to make a point very clear that the United States is not seeking to create or to reopen any military bases in the Philippines. The United States and the Philippines have been working on a new pact to boost security ties ahead of President Barack Obama's October 11 to 12 visit to Manila. Harp said that the United States is talking with the Philippines about how to promote security and stability for our nation and in the region. President Benigno Aquino III has called for greater military cooperation with the United States as the Philippines, Vietnam, and Japan accuse China of increasing assertiveness in staking claims in contested waters. Moving on to other news, a suspect in the murder of advertising executive Cristel Davantes is now in the custody of the National Bureau of Investigation. The NBI arrested the suspect in Molino, Cavite. The suspect, who was presented before reporters, admitted to the killing. He said that he and 4 companions had intended to rob Davantes as they noticed that she was driving in the same direction as they were. They were able to enter the subdivision where Davantes lived as they had valid stickers for the gated community. Then they then followed Davantes to her home. As she alighted from her car, they accosted her. They took her away in her car, gagged and tied up, and killed her when they got to Silang, Cavite. Motorists may want to find alternate routes to thoroughfares in 3 cities as these are undergoing reblocking and repair this weekend. The Metropolitan Manila Development Authority said the repair work started 10 p.m. Friday and will last until 5 a.m. on Monday. This includes roads in Pasay, Quezon, and Caloocan cities. Affected areas are in Pasay City along EDSA from General Santos to Wood Street. In Quezon City, along EDSA from Roosevelt Avenue to West Avenue. Along Araneta Avenue from E. Rodriguez Sr. to Caliraya Street northbound. In Caloocan, along EDSA Monumento Circle southbound. Lanes 5 and 6 along EDSA in front of MCU Hospital to General Simon Street northbound lanes. And abroad, Islamist Boko Haram militants killed 159 people in 2 roadside attacks in northeast Nigeria. The attack is a sign that a 4-month-old army offensive has yet to stabilize the region. The military operation was ordered by President Goodluck Jonathan in an attempt to crush the 4-year-old rebellion. And with that, we end the PBS Network News today, the 21st day of September 2013. I'm Maju and Ramos.
This is Business Radio.
Check your time. It is now 16 and a half minutes after 12 o'clock.